Welcome to my native plant garden. My partner and I moved into this home in 1997. Since then, we have taken out all of the manicured grass from the front and backyard, as well as the sides of the house and the boulevard. The property now has a series of pathways surrounded by flower beds, herb and vegetable gardens, bushes, and trees. The gardens have all been designed with meandering paths surrounded by interactive gardens meant to be touched, smelled, eaten, and sometimes even walked on. These paths are enjoyed by my grandchildren as well as the neighborhood kids. Elliot Scott, my fabulous 13-year-old grandchild, who has been using these paths since the age of 2, is the designer of this video. We are located in the Carolinian zone, and I have tried to include as many Carolinian plants as possible. I have taken videos every 2 weeks or so to show the progress of the plants and their flowers. The boulevard flower bed is 52 feet by 12 feet and about 15 years old. It started as a mix of native and non-native plants, and it is now about 95% native with some bulbs for spring interest. This section of the garden has been a teaching tool. As people walk along the boulevard, they often inquire about certain plants, and I talk about the importance of using native plants in our gardens. There is often an invitation to come with pots in the spring or fall, and I will dig up plants for them. Over the years, native plants have made their way into many other gardens, as I think it is important to share them with friends and family. It is always such a pleasure to see them flourishing in other gardens. Included in the boulevard are spring flowers, the pasque flower, prairie smoke, anaphyllus, anemone cylindrica, primula mystacinica, aquilegia, liatris. Summer is zigzag plants, zizia, amsonia, coreopsis, landsleaf, echinacea, pallida, pale one and the regular one, and Virginia mountain mint. In the fall, plenty of asters, solidago rigida, and anis hyssop. The wildlife in our garden is plentiful. We have skunks, chipmunks, squirrels, rabbits who nested under the butternut one year, as well as groundhogs who love to eat the echinacea in the backyard. Deer also visited us for snacks in the early spring. Many insects visit the plants and live on the plants. The fireflies often transform the yard into a magical-looking fairy garden. Birds feed off the plants and insects and help complete the circle of life. We have seen woodpeckers, cardinals, blue jays, robins, red-winged blackbirds, Baltimore orioles, hummingbirds, sparrows, and many more. Shrubs and trees are an essential part of a native garden, providing food and shelter for many birds, insects, and of course the bees. Shrubs also add shape and structure to the aesthetics. Some of the shrubs in our garden include the purple flowering raspberry, ninebark, alderleaf buckthorn, winterberry, silky dogwood, red osier and gray dogwood, American hazelnut, beech tree, tulip tree, Saskatoon, Carolinian rose, vagrant sumac, spice bush, and bush honeysuckle under the tower. The lady of the garden, born of a stacked pile of logs, lives in a bed of ostrich ferns off of our back deck. A woodpecker has been using her for food, finding the insects and ants that live in her wood. She has gone through many transformations as she is slowly eaten and disintegrates. Under the evergreens in front of the house, I have planted native strawberries, a white variety called Fragilia vesca. The chipmunks and birds love them and sometimes even leave a few for the humans. Rainwater from the eaves troughs is directed via a stone riverbed to a part of the garden with plants who like their feet wet. They include cardinal flower, blue vervain, northern blue flag, culver's root, blue lobelia, and turtlehead. The trilliums hold a special place in our memories as they were rescued over 30 years ago from a development site in the city. They have traveled with me through 3 gardens and now reside under the butternut tree where the ants are spreading their seeds far and wide. The bladdernut is an understory for the birds who come to the feeders. The backyard, because of mostly dappled shade, has a lot of forest floor plants, actea, rue anemone, wild ginger, zigzag goldenrod, wild phlox, bloodroot, Solomon seal, starry fall Solomon seal, mayapple. As it would be in a forest, the beds are not cleaned. The leaves stay on the ground to provide shelter and homes for insects who overwinter in the garden. The leaves also act as a natural mulch to keep in the humidity and eventually return nutrients to the soil as compost.